My name's Richard Ellis. People generally call me Rich. My business is Fit for Life, and it's changed names over the years. So it started off as Fit for Life Personal Training, and it's evolved into Fit for Life Advanced Health Coaching. And I think that's an indication of my journey, and also perhaps where the industry may be going as well in terms of acquiring new skills and having the ability to do more for clients rather than purely help them lift a weight or become fitter or whatever it may be. So that's my business, and I've been running that for nearly 10 years now, so 9.5 odd years. So it's been a labour of love, and obviously it isn't something that I did from a young man's age. I got into the industry relatively late, but because it was a passion of mine that I needed to, I guess, at a certain point in my life, I wanted to fulfil. Yeah. My background is retail, so I came to New Zealand. You can probably tell I'm not from here, although I have a New Zealand passport. I came here to work for a supermarket group. I was brought from the UK, and they were in the process of creating new roles that they couldn't fill from people from overseas, so I was filling gaps. And my background was FMCG, so it's all about customer service, running big teams, managing stock, and that was my experience. I realised that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I was literally reading the New Zealand Herald one lunchtime and saw an advert for a training college and went, it just spiked my interest. I don't know why I stopped, maybe it was colour, I don't know. And I stopped and so I just inquired. I was online the next night sort of asking more about the course, and I was signed up the following week. It was that quick. So I studied in the evenings, I did it part-time, and over a course of 8 months, 12 months, I became qualified, and through that process learned a whole heap, which was really the initiative in the first place, was just to learn more and understand more about health, fitness, and by the end I wanted to get into the industry and do the whole thing, the whole hog. So, but that eventually got to a point where I was able to go, right, this is me full time, and I mean business. I'm not playing at this. And obviously, there's the financial side of things in terms of making that work. And once I'd figured out how that was going to work and how I could sustain it, it became far more enjoyable. It became something that I could really then pass on my passion to my clients and support them and help them in achieving their goals. That's the stuff that really gets me excited. It sounds a little self-serving, but I think the one biggest thing that a PT can do to help their business is get a mentor. Especially when they're new. That first couple of years is probably the crucial time. It's like a toddler learning to walk, and you're going to fall down a number of times before you can walk properly, and that's all part of the learning process. But if there's someone there to help you stand up and to pick you up each time, you're going to get there faster. And that certainly made a big impact on my business when I got to the point where I decided to find a mentor. I kind of reached a point where I was treading water, and I felt like I needed something else. I needed a new challenge or another stretch. And when I found a mentor, that's what happened, and my business went to the next level. So that would be my biggest advice, is find someone who can support you, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a financial arrangement. It could be someone that you know and trust in the industry who's prepared to pick up the phone once a week or once a month, or just catch up over a meal, whatever it may be, just to lend an ear and just pass on some advice that they will have experienced that you may not have, and help you on your journey. I think reps is important, and I think we undervalue what it does for us, and it's not a cheap process. But at the same time, what you're saying is, I'm investing in myself. I'm prepared to put myself on a register that says I've achieved a certain level of qualification, a certain level of ongoing education, and at the end of the day, while we're still an unregulated industry, it's a step in the right direction to give us that differentiation between the guy down the road who may have an average qualification and no registration, and say, well, actually, I do have some of those things, and therefore you can trust me more because there's a requirement of me to achieve a certain minimum each year, every year. And if you drop out of that process, you've got to start, and you've got to pay more to get back into it. So there's an incentive to stay there. There are a number of resources available through reps, but you've got to tap into them, and you've got to go and look for them, because they are easily available, but you've got to go and look for them. And I've got a number of resources where I work, for example, there's a whole number of educational leaflets that reps makes, and they're slowly increasing that range over time. They're invaluable. You know, you can hand that over to a client that maybe talk about diabetes, or it may talk about strength training or sleep or exercising for mental health. All of these things, which are a really big part of people's overall well-being. It's a resource right there. I don't have to go and do the research. I can literally hand it to the client and say, have a read. I think this ties in with some of the things that we've been talking about today. And it costs next to nothing to have that available. So, you know, being part of that body means that there's the credibility, there's the resources, and there's that differentiation. Comes to mind straight away is wearable technology. You know, it's very accessible, it's very affordable, and it's another add-on, a useful add-on for capturing data about a client. So, you know, in a pre-screen, we'll normally sit down with a client and understand their blood pressure, their lifestyle, a bit of medical history, injury profile, all the standard stuff. Wearable technology just adds another layer to that and gives us things like heart rate, resting heart rate, average heart rate, sleeping patterns. Depending on how sophisticated the technology is, you know, maybe a different story between, you know, something on your wrist and something somewhere else on your body in terms of what sleep's going on, but it gives you something. And obviously sleep is a massive component in terms of someone's health and wellness. One of the big things I focus on with my clients. So that would be the most obvious thing in terms of you know, emerging, or more than emerging, it's really very much out there. The best way to make contact with me is to get in touch with me via phone. Quickest and easiest way. I've got a website which is theptmentor.com, and that's a resource that just tells them a little bit about the mentoring relationship, the duration of relationship that can occur throughout the mentoring process, and there's details on there in terms of how to contact me. If people are unsure and they're not sure what they want, I'm more than happy to sit down with them or have a chat on the phone with them and have just a discussion about where they're at in the industry and their business. And often that will be a bit of a fact-finding mission for me as to whether I can help. And vice versa, it should be a two-way street as to whether I'm the right fit for them.